Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you how I approached this quick garden study. I painted this with a limited palette of 6 colors: yellow azo medium, phthalo green, quinacridone red, cobalt blue, dioxazine purple, and titanium white. Like many artists, I prefer working on a toned surface for acrylics. I chose a pretty bold color for this using the dioxazine purple. My initial plan was to use this only for the toned background, but I ended up using it in the whole painting because I squeezed a little bit too much out. So once I blocked in the purple layer, I immediately move into blocking in my subject. So you'll see me putting some dots there, and those are just to kind of mark different areas that would be good focal points. And for the outline, I mixed up some phthalo green and dioxazine purple. So that actually makes a somewhat of a blue color, interestingly enough. And you can see here I've highlighted the area of interest in the video. Basically, I'm painting the squash plant, just kind of blocking in general shapes in this section. In the early stages of the painting, I really kind of focus on the shape language, just going for like general shapes. I don't worry too much about the specific shapes of the leaves. I think I'm mostly just interested in the light and the contrast, and the shadows. Sort of going for a more painterly approach. And this is not really a scientific illustration or anything like that. Um, so one question I often get is, how do I choose an area to focus on? And for me, with these sort of studies, I'm just going for whatever catches my eye. So again, it was the contrast here. Seeing this very bright leaf in the top right of my canvas, and seeing the nice dark shadows. So here I'm blocking in some greens that I mixed up using the yellow azo medium and the phthalo green and a little bit of the cobalt blue. I also started adding in white. I try not to add in white too early on in paintings. I think this is a good spot. You get higher chroma if you use white sparingly with acrylic paints, but obviously you need it for the opacity. So I'm definitely not saying I don't use white, but I like to kind of hold off on it just a little bit before I start really hammering in the white in all my color mixes. Those yellow leaves are really standing out, so I blocked them in pretty early. And here I am adding in some more pale pastel colored leaves. Here I'm mixing up a little bit of an orange color, and this is for the earth underneath the leaves. And I sort of push this a little bit. It's a little bit more orange than it is in real life. And that's totally fine. I think when you're painting, you should push the colors as much as you want. It's the style that makes people interested in it, and it's a great way of expressing yourself. I think sometimes people get a little bit too lost in color matching exactly. As I'm painting, I'm noticing the light changing quite a bit. This dappled light from the trees can be somewhat challenging when you're painting. I think it's best to commit to a particular shadow early on, and I try to do this, but in this painting, to be honest, I was shifting values the entire time I was painting it. Uh, Honestly, this wasn't a very long painting though. This is about an hour and 15 minutes total, and I skipped ahead a little bit. My cat came to visit, so slowed it down to real-time speed here. You can also see I'm adding in these marigold flowers. These have a really nice bright orange hue to them, and using that mix, I've also decided to brighten up some of the leaves that were yellow and push them a little bit closer to more of like a mustardy sort of yellow. When I'm using a limited palette like this, sometimes getting neutral colors can be a little bit challenging, but I think it's helpful to remind yourself, if you're using a limited palette, that your color range it's just that, it's limited. So you're kind of restricted, but I think that's a good thing. Restricting yourself actually makes you a little bit more creative, and I think you have a more harmonious palette when you're using a limited palette. I know this is in contrast to my last video. I've really grown as an artist since then, and I've come to recognize the value of limited palettes. So, I was definitely a bit wrong, I admit. In my last one, I didn't really use limited palettes. I didn't really see the point. I didn't quite struggle with color, with watercolor, getting a harmonious painting. But when I started using acrylic last year, I actually found that a limited palette allowed me to get much nicer paintings. I think color, when you're adding white to the mix, can be quite challenging. Um, and so a limited palette helps you overcome that. Right now, I'd say the composition is somewhat messy, and you may not really be able to tell what's going on if you didn't know what I was painting. And a lot of the times when I'm painting, I'm basically just trying to define the general light and shadow. I think it's easy to get lost in details. So, one of my tricks, and I know this doesn't work for everyone, but for me, I'm nearsighted. So, what I'll do is I'll actually take off my glasses. Uh, my vision's not too terrible, but I'll take off my glasses and it helps me to generalize shapes a little bit better. So now we're in the detail phase, and I skipped a little bit of the footage. Honestly, there were some problems with recording. Go figure, it's been a couple years since I recorded anything. But you can see in the bottom left that I've added in a lot of blues on the leaves, and this is really just to show that they're in a shaded area. I think really pushing like the chroma of the blue and the purple areas creates a very nice contrast against the greens. And it's pretty clear that it's in shadow. So here I am adding some finishing touches. I'm really trying to push some of the dappled light that I missed before. And some of the footage that I've skipped over, I really defined a lot of those shadows, making them a bit darker. And in adding this dappled light, I'm actually going to push the color of the light a little bit more in a warmer range. You can really see that in that little spot in the bottom left corner of the painting that's in the shadow area. And here I am signing the painting. So I'd like to thank everyone who made it this far in the video. This is I guess technically my third YouTube video. This time I'm actually planning on putting out content a little bit more regularly. So if you enjoyed this video and if you'd like to see more content like this, please like and subscribe, share with your friends. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see from me. Let me know what I can improve on, and what I got right. Love to hear from you. So, thanks again for watching.